Do you want the next 5 years to look like the last 5 years? Ask yourself that question. Do you want the next 5 years of your life to look like the last 5 years of your life? If your answer is no, then that is the reason why you have to start doing things differently. Because more of the same equals more of the same. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If you eat the same way over and over again for years, and then you expect to lose weight, you expect to get healthy, that's insanity. That's just the way it goes. Same thing in your life. If you keep thinking the same way, you keep watching the same thing, you keep getting around the same people, you keep going to the same 5 to 10 places a month, you keep doing the same things, you will get the same outcomes. You can't expect it to be different. So, some reminders in there. Life is more about what you're becoming, not what you have, but what you are becoming. So, asking yourself that question, who am I becoming? I heard it said a different way. You take a job. If any of you think about taking a job or starting a business, it's like you take a job or you start a business, not to say, what can I get, but who am I becoming at this place? If I have to take a job where I have to become somebody I don't like, well, is that job worth it? Is that paycheck worth it? If I start a business where I have to do things that are not moral or ethical or anything like that, then it's less about what I get and more about who am I becoming? That's a question you should be asking yourself all the time in this process of us designing our ideal life is who am I becoming? And am I happy with the person I'm becoming? Am I happy with the influences, the things I have to do in order to work or whatever the case is? What am I becoming? To have more than you got to become more than you are. To have more than you have now, you have to become more than you are. We get paid for the value we bring to the marketplace. We get paid for the value we bring. So the focus, if you want to bring in more, is to become more valuable. Become more valuable to people. Become more valuable to your family. Become more valuable to your community. Become more valuable to your job. Again, so some of y'all know I talk this employee entrepreneur stuff. I'm very big on the entrepreneur side, but I tell people if you want to play the game in corporate America, you want to play the game at a job, like you want to do that side, perfectly fine. Now you got to know how to play it. You have to go above and beyond. You have to be more valuable to the organization. You can't just come in and skate by. You can't just clock in and clock out if you want to play the game. If you want to excel, if you want to get the raise, if you want to get headhunted by other companies, you have to go above and beyond. You have to do more than what you get paid for. You have to become an above average person so you can get above average pay. That's the way this goes. It's just a matter of, are you working on you? Are you working twice as hard on yourself as you do on your job? Jim Rohn always reminds us of that. Life is not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond to it. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. These are reminders. Maybe again, for the first time, you might be hearing this, but I want you to remember that the moment you start going blaming or making excuses for what is happening, that is 10% of the thing. That's 10% of the game. What happens to you? We all have some varying degrees of the same things happening to us in life. Same things. There's always going to be trials and tests, exactly like they give you that formula of the seasons, right? Winter will always follow the fall. Spring will always follow the winter. The summer will always follow the spring. Like there's just certain things that are going to happen. And in your life, the exact same thing. There's always going to be some things that just, they happen. So life is not about what happens to you. Life is not about the circumstance. It's not about that. That's 10% of it. 90% of it is how you react to it, how you go through it. Do you have patience when you go through it? Are you easily angered? Do you allow other people to, take your energy, whatever that situation is? But you got to remember, it's not about what is happening to you. It's about how you're responding to it. And again, if we change our thinking, we can change our life. Some things he said to pay attention to: procrastination. These are things that we got to push away from, the procrastination side of things, those small little things that we stop doing. lead to really big things long term. Blaming others, for all of you on the call, for all of you that listen, again, this isn't for everybody because a lot of people blame a lot of things out there. But if you want to take control of your life, you want to get to the life you don't need a break from, you want to build the capacity, you want to take ownership of your life, you can no longer blame anything outside of you. You can no longer blame. Every once in a while, you might have a time you just want to blame some things or say something, perfectly fine. But in general, the way you operate, you cannot blame anything outside of you as to the reason why you are where you are, as to the reason why you don't have the money you want to, or the happiness that you want to, or the joy, or whatever. Don't ever blame anyone else. That's how you take full ownership of your life. And you got to remember those things. Last thing he said was excuses. We eliminate excuses. There are sometimes there are reasons, most times they're excuses. And you can have a million excuses or $1 million, but you can't have both. Had a mentor tell me that one time. You can have a million excuses or you can have $1 million, but you can't have both. So you probably should eliminate the excuse side so you can go after the $1 million side of things. And small disciplines create big results. These are some areas you got to make sure that you are growing in. It says the great ones are learners, right? We're learning machines. We are learning machines. And this is where you can start to figure out your spiritual growth, your physical growth, and your mental growth. How much are you learning? How much are you learning? Uh, on another show I do called Biz Buzz Live, I do it on Fridays. It's on LinkedIn and YouTube live. I'm going over this list of things. The World Economic Forum at the beginning of the year put out this list. These are of like what skills you need to be employed over the next 10 years. That's basically what they said. They said these are the skills that jobs are going to look for you to actually go out and be employed over the next 10 years. If you are not out of the workforce in 10 years, these are things. And one of the things on that list said being a lifelong learner. Had nothing to do with anything, right? Technical. It says they're lifelong learners. The people that are employing people want people that learn constantly, that don't say, oh, I know this. They're constantly learning. And because of the way that God designed us, we can constantly learn. Your mind can never get stale. There's people that are 80, 90 years old that are still learning, that are still asking questions, that are still curious. All those things. Age has nothing to do with your brain slowing down. It actually doesn't. It has nothing to do with it. If you keep your brain sharp by learning, by consuming new things, by reading, by taking in, by being curious, you can constantly learn, which will constantly allow you to grow. Here's what it says in the text. It says, for most people in modern Western culture, learning means memorizing facts, theories, theorems, and dates. That's what most of us were taught to do in school. To average people, learning is a late night cram session and a pot of coffee to stay awake. Professional performers have overcome this outdated industrial age system and created a formula for learning and developing their minds. As speaker Jim Rohn says, formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. The pros know this to be accurate and invest heavily in books, tapes, and CD programs on everything from personal development to business sales, marketing, and management. They read and study trade journals and become world-renowned experts. Average people spend less than $10 annually on books. Top 1% of income earners in America invest nearly $10,000 annually on books and other learning resources. They attend seminars, workshops, and retreats. Amateur performers look at these investments as a waste of time and money. They are more likely to invest their money in lottery tickets, satellite television, cigarettes, alcohol, and other forms of entertainment. The great ones in the world of the great ones, in the words of scientific genius Buckminster Fuller, dare to be naive. The middle class thinks they have little left to learn. The world-class performers know the more they learn, the greater their level of awareness they reach. And the greater the level of awareness, the more they realize how much more there's left to learn. The great ones know learning, like love, is infinite. There's no end until the heart stops beating. You have to be a constant learner. This is how you grow in your spiritual life, you grow in your physical life, you grow in your mental life. Like, this is how you do it. It's because you're constantly learning. I shared this, I think on something else I was doing, but one of my buddies and I, we were talking, and we were talking about, again, the commonality of when we get around very successful people that are older, they always are asking questions. He said he was in a room with a guy, very, very successful Jewish guy, and he's sitting down with him and he's having some conversations. He's trying to ask him some questions. And he said the whole time the guy is fascinated with him and asking him questions. It's like a 30-year age difference, but this guy is coming in and asking him questions about how he's doing things, about his life. He's so fascinated. He's like, man, I was coming here to learn from him. And he's taking all the time asking me questions, trying to learn from me. How often do you do that? How often do you get in a room and you're trying to learn? You're curious. You're trying to pick up new information, or do you believe there's not much left for you to learn? Maybe that's the thinking that has to change for us to get to the life that we don't need a break from. Maybe that's the thinking that has to change in order for us to go off and build the capacity to handle the life that's up ahead. Maybe that's what has to change. Maybe it's your thoughts that there's nothing left to learn. You know it all. You just got to go do it. Sure. And there's probably some more learning. There's probably some more things that you got to really start to get the information on, the knowledge on, so that you can actually go apply it. But you got to know, this is how we grow. This is how we stay constantly in the process of growth. It's by constantly learning, taking in new information, applying that new information, seeking new things. We become what we consume. What are you putting in your eyes and your ears every day? If you're not putting, because again, I tell you guys what not to put in, right? And the entertainment, all the stuff that's there, but maybe you're the other side and you just don't put anything in. Well, that means you're just listening to yourself all the time. You're just in your head. You're just listening to yourself. Well, that's not necessary. Listening to yourself has gotten you right to this spot that you are in life. Again, I know it's hard to swallow sometimes when we're just getting introduced to this information, but it's true. The way you think, what you have kind of thought about and taken action on in your life has gotten your life exactly to where it is right now. If you want to change something right now in your life, you got to change how you are thinking about it. It's that simple. The action step for today says make a commitment to develop your own self-education program. Read, listen, and attend seminars and workshops. Set a goal to read a certain number of books, listen to a certain number of CDs or podcasts or whatever. This shift in lifestyle will catapult your career and your consciousness. The saying that comes from Albert Einstein, a problem cannot be solved at the same level of consciousness it was created. A problem can't be solved at the same level of consciousness it was created. And so if you created something in your life that you're no longer happy with, but you're at the same level of consciousness, you're thinking about life the same way, you can't personally solve that problem. The only way to do that is to get to a higher level of consciousness. How do we do that? We keep learning. We keep getting in new environments. We keep consuming new things. We get to a higher level of consciousness, then we can look down on that issue, that problem, that adversity, that thing, and we can do something different about it. But if we're not going to change, we're not going to be able to get there, y'all. That's why we got to go off and do this. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve to win. Your families deserve to win. The people around you are actually counting on you to win. I know they might not verbally tell you that, but they are. They're waiting on you to get this information. They're waiting on you to get financially independent. They're waiting on you to have the emotional intelligence to handle that family tragedy that's about to happen. They're waiting on you to get this stuff because you have to support. You're on these calls. They're not. You're building the capacity. You have a vision for your life. There's more things that you want. Now you have to go do it. Never said it was going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. The climb to the top, everything that's good is uphill. The climb to the top is difficult, but it's going to be worth it, y'all, when you build the capacity you need to handle the life that you're asking for. Go out there, do something today that scares you. It's Wednesday. There's no such thing as hump day. Today is just like every other day. You go out, you push yourself, you learn, you grow. Take this time today to reflect on some of the stuff that we're talking about and go apply it in your life. Watch your life change. Love you guys. See you on Friday.